We trusted early photographs, not because they told stories, but because they proved something once existed, that has been. The grain in film was not an accident. It became a badge of truth. A crackle from vinyl or a typo on a typewriter wasn't noise. It was evidence someone had touched the work with their flawed hands. Our senses learned to read these textures as proof, like ink blots on paper that couldn't lie. By the 1980s, digital music had mastered precision and lost soul. Med-eye notes played back with robotic perfection. So engineers built tools to add human imperfections. On-demand, randomized timing offsets, velocity variations, humanization plugins. The machine was forced to look like it fumbled because we wanted a beat that sounded alive. It wasn't about realism anymore. It was about convincing us someone had played this. We had already learned what truth looks like. We didn't need it. We needed signs that pointed to it. A crack, a whisper, a glitch. These were not flaws, but clues. And now, just as we begin to see through the code of these artifacts, new ones are being generated by algorithms trained on our nostalgia for realness.
The earliest computers were not just machines of calculation, but bold experiments in automating human thought, laying the groundwork for the digital revolution through innovation.
Back in 1984, when most people saw a computer as a box with blinking lights and cold indifference, some researchers already knew something strange was coming. They realized that to truly blend into our world, machines would need more than perfect logic. They'd need flaws, hesitations, maybe even a stutter here or there. This wasn't about making them better. It was about making them human enough for us to trust. The idea of imperfect intelligence as desirable wasn't new, but the tools were now ready. But something we could design into systems. When Instagram users swipe through filtered selfies, they're not looking for the most accurate representation. They want a curated version of reality. Film grain and color shifts are no longer signs of degradation, but symbols of authenticity. We've reversed the hierarchy. What once was noise becomes signal. AI tools now automate this shift, mimicking the soft focus of an old Polaroid, or adding digital film scratches to algorithmically generated content. Digital resurrection services now offer people a chance to speak with loved ones who've passed by reconstructing their voice, expressions, and even stutter patterns. The more human the imitation, the higher the emotional reward, and that becomes the product. These aren't just simulations of identity. They're simulations of intimacy. And what does it say about us when we demand our dead to be perfect in death as much as we were in life? The line between mourning and marketing has been blurred beyond recognition.
This is done by building up portions of the impression surface with thin pieces of paper cut to the proper shape so that the pressure is equalized. A pressman must know how to adjust his press to all kinds of paper and secure mechanical accuracy throughout. He must have an eye for intensity of color and see that the inking is uniform at all times. And pressmen should be able to supervise assistants.
Detection systems are now trained on what we call rail, but real life is messy, inconsistent, and full of noise. So instead, they're fed curated stock photos, sterile simulations that mimic human behavior without the unpredictability of actual human behaviors. As a result, when presented with the genuine article, those algorithms struggle to recognize it. The camera, ready world of AI, has trained our systems to expect perfection and therefore treats authenticity, which is by definition flawed, as suspicious. Even in legal and historical contexts, authenticity is breaking down. AI generated handwriting mimics the quirks of individual penmanship so precisely that it's nearly indistinguishable from human works. This isn't just forgery. This is authorship itself becoming malleable. We no longer have a shared language for distinguishing between what was written by hand and what was simulated in code. As deepfake detection tools become obsolete, we're left with nothing but social cues. Things like eye blinking or voice pitch shifts to determine truth. But these signals were never meant as universal identifiers. They evolved for specific contexts and emotional expressions. Now we treat them like forensic evidence in a world where the standard of proof keeps changing. The irony is that our attempts to measure authenticity are themselves increasingly artificial.
Know anything about music and who might be intimidated even by it, to go out and to fool around with music already created, or to create his own, and be able to do everything just with a joystick.
Maybe you can show us a little bit about how a music instruction set works.
Roland Barthes once said that a photograph holds an unimpeachable claim. It says this is how it was. It's not just a picture, but proof of something having been there. But now with AI, generated images and deepfakes, we lose the assurance that photographs capture truth. The thing about faked visuals isn't they're clever. It's that they mimic this very power Barthes described. By being real. The paradox of authenticity is that the more convincing a fake becomes, the less reason we have to believe anything. If we can buy realism in bulk, if imperfection is no longer unique, but manufactured for effect, then our trust mechanisms break down entirely. We end up not just questioning what's real, but what it even means to be human. Unless we reclaim judgment as a value unto itself, something beyond algorithmic output, we risk becoming consumers of belief rather than truth.